Hello, and welcome to another episode of The End of the Search. This questions, somebody sent it to me, and it says, "Hi Nick, I discovered your YouTube channel last week, and it has been resonating with me so far. I was wondering if I could do a one-on-one session with you sometime. Some topics I would like to explore are," and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the topics and I'm going to elaborate through them or about them in this particular video, because I don't know, this may be an issue that you may also be dealing with, so let's see if it serves. The first one says, direct experience. This seems to be the key. I may have had a glimpse or two of this, but I wanted to ask if there is anything that can be done to quote-unquote achieve this or speed up the process. Okay, first of all, direct experience is that. It's not something that you will experience in the future. What happens is the concept direct experience, the mind traps it and could be a little tricky for it, but in reality it's very simple. Right now, you cannot negate the fact that you are. That is direct experience. You cannot negate the fact that you are alive within the context of this illusory experience. That is direct experience. What I think is that, and this happens a lot, is when the person says, I've had glimpses of that, is that it may have some kind of experience that may be out of the ordinary, maybe, I don't know, whatever that could be, and now it believes that that experience is what, I don't know, you may call it awakening or whatever the case may be. And now the problem is that the individual begins to chase or pursue that particular momentary experience, as wonderful as it may seem, and overlooks direct experience, which is life itself unfolding. So when the mind begins to have a preconceived idea that enlightenment or awakening looks in a particular way, that's when we get into trouble. Because there's a tendency of thinking that someone who's awake or enlightened never have problems, lives blissfully all the time, and these preconceived ideas are basically blocks to the fact that we are. The human experience is a dualistic experience. So there is pain and there is pleasure. That's the way it is. But the suffering, however, has to do with the content of the mind, believing the thoughts that are constantly trying to translate everything. So there's nothing to do to achieve direct experience. You are right now direct experience. And the word experience is also a tricky one, but again, the language is very limiting, because there's no one having an experience. You see, an experience will belong to someone, but we're not having an experience. We're pointing to what is. When I ask, for example, don't identify with any thoughts. Let them be. The thoughts will be there because that's what they do. Thoughts will be there. That's part of, clouds are there, but they don't affect the sky. So don't identify right now with any thoughts. You don't need to close your eyes or anything, because this is not a practice. I'm just pointing to the obvious. Don't identify with any thoughts. Nothing. What remains? Because when you identify with the thoughts, you're overlooking the fact that you are, and now you're identified with whatever the mind, is chatting about. What remains? Don't answer the question. If you answer the question, you're back in the mind. I'm simply pointing to the obviousness of experience, you see. That is direct experience. You don't have to think about it. It's not a belief. It remains always. Therefore, that is direct experience. You are. Life is. Don't make anything about it. Don't make anything special of it, and that's it. And yes, whatever experiences you might have had, the fact that they are transitory implies that they're not truth. Because truth is permanent. It's not transitory. And right now you are. This is direct experience. This is difficult for the mind to grasp, especially when the mind is so identified with fantasies about this and have read many books about, when you become enlightened, this is what's going to happen, so and so. And this reminds me the old Zen quote that says, before enlightenment, chop wood and carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood and carry water. Well, of course, I couldn't understand what that meant because I was having this idea that before enlightenment I feel in one way, and after enlightenment I'm going to feel differently. And then it became crystal clear that life is, and the only thing that causes all suffering is believing the content of the mind. And the reason why we believe the content of the mind is because we need the content of the mind in order to hold on the belief that I'm a separate entity, which is the mind itself suggesting that I am an entity. You see, a baby simply is until it's been taught that it is something. And now the baby thinks that he or she is the word something. I am a boy, I am a girl, my name is blah blah blah, and then on top of that it adds all these different attributes or descriptions. I am good, bad, pretty, ugly, good boy, or good girl, bad girl. I am deserving, non-deserving. And then keep growing, and of course more concepts. I am successful, I'm a failure, I am my job, I am. See, but all of these are thoughts. You see, in the end, what is left is what is, and we're pointing to that. This is what these videos are about. That's why it is simple, you see. So this is one of the questions. The second question was, practicing the presence. What can I do, or what can be allowed to be done in the meantime? I am a good example of the person in golden handcuffs. How do I live under these circumstances? Okay, these are two questions. Let's begin with the first one. Practicing the presence. You don't need to practice the presence because you are the presence. It's when you identify with the thought I individual that now I have to practice the presence. Do you have to practice being? Right now, do you need to practice being? No. Being is what's happening. You are being. So you see, there's no practice, there's no need to do anything. You are just being, and that's it. You're being always. The problem is when you think you're being something. I am being this individual. You see, and that's when the challenge comes in, because then all the problems are for the individual, but not for beingness. Beingness simply is. All the concerns, fears are for the individual. The individual is a thought in beingness, and all the concerns are thoughts that are adhered to the individual. But if you simply are, then life is. That is what is referred to as the peace that passes all understanding. You see? This is what we're pointing to. Once we dismantle the belief that enlightenment or awakening or should look in a particular way, you realize, oh my God, this is obvious. This is it. Means that part of, even taking the kids to school is part of life. Having a headache is part of life. Having a job or losing a job, having a relationship, not having a relationship, dealing with whatever, it's all part of life. This is part of what happens, put it this way, or what seems to happen, let's be more specific, but I remain as I am, you see? And then, this is it, that's life. The only problem that I had was identifying with the thoughts. And of course, all these questions are thoughts that are showing up, and the mind grabs them and says, okay, well, what do I need to do? You don't need to practice presence. You are presence always, because you are, you see? And then the second question says, I am a good example of a person in golden handcuffs. How do I live under these circumstances? This term had to do with the video that I did. I put the link on the description here, which is entitled, You Don't Need to Earn a Living. I think that's the title. Anyway, the description, you'll see the link. And I did mention a bit of this golden handcuff, but in reality, that's something that I mentioned in the video because it helped within the context of what I was speaking. But I gotta be careful with that because we're not talking about the experiences in the world of experience. We're not talking about the specifics in the world. It's just that it fit. And anyway, the golden handcuffs implies that when an individual have a great job, well, call it a great job, meaning that a job that pays him well, even though if he or she despises it. But he has making a lot of money with that job, and now it creates a lifestyle that in order for him or her to sustain that lifestyle, he has to keep that job. Because if he leaves that job, he cannot hold on to the lifestyle, and now he or she prefers to be holding on to a job that he despises or hates because he's trapped. He needs to sustain the lifestyle, right? So that's kind of something that I address. But watch the video anyway, because it's not about that. It's just basically that's something that I threw in there. So the question is, how do I live under these circumstances? The answer is very simple. The mind is not going to like it necessarily. Okay, you don't have to live under any circumstances. You see, remember, these videos are paradoxical because you're doing whatever you're doing because that is your script. That's how life is unfolding through you. So you're not guilty because you're living that way. That's just the way it's unfolding. In the same way that this video is unfolding as well, to maybe shed some information that may serve you, okay? That may serve, okay? I'm not assuming that I am an expert. I'm not saying that I know anything. I'm just speaking from my experience. And if you feel that it serves you, great. And if you feel that it doesn't, well, that's fine. You can discard it. But anyhow, the key here is not about the lifestyle or how to sustain or deal with that. The key here is, what do you really want? What is important to you? If the lifestyle is important to you, there's nothing we can do about it. But if inner peace is the most important thing to you, now everything changes. When peace is the most important thing, then you'll see how life is going to be leading you to begin to let go of that which may no longer serve you. I'm going to give you a possibility, okay? I have a lifestyle. I have a job that sustains that lifestyle. But finally I realize that the price that I am paying is too high. And I want inner peace about all else. Now remember, this video is about knowing who you are. It's not about fixing your situation. But you know, I'm just addressing this right now, and then we're going to what the videos are about. You know, which is knowing who you are, which is have nothing to do with your life experiences. In the wanting of inner peace, then sometimes I could be inspired to begin to sell a lot of the things that I no longer need, you see? And there you begin to notice how much attachments are in there. Oh my God, I don't want to sell this car. It was given to me when I was, I don't know, it's my father's car, or this prize that I got because of whatever. You see, you begin to look at all the attachments, because in the end we're going to let go of all attachment, including the body itself. So you can experience the freedom in which you rest always. Okay? So when inner peace is the most important thing, I may be led to begin to sell and let go of a lot of things. That in itself is beginning to take a lot of weight off the job that I seem to hold on. And of course, then at the same time, if I'm selling a lot of the stuff, the extra money that that is being earned through that job can be put in a bank account for a while. Okay? Doesn't mean I'm going to stay with the job, but at least I don't feel a prisoner of it. Okay? And then maybe there's something, an inspiration when you begin to give yourself that quiet time. Life may inspire you to begin to do something else that seems to be more fulfilling to you than this particular job. Now you may I have family, I have kids and everything. Again, pay attention. This is important. Life will lead you as to what to do that will benefit the whole, you know. So it's not, if you're single, maybe easier to do this, but if you have a family and kids and you think that they have a lifestyle, they have a great school to go to, they go to a school that they pay a lot of money for it, when there are other schools that they may not have to pay that much money. You see, all these arrangements will be taken care of by life itself. You just have to be clear, what do you want more than anything else? You see, so you don't have to worry about leaving your job or selling anything. No, I'm simply putting the horse in front of the cart. Okay? When that is the most important thing, then you begin to see how life will move you as to what to do. In some cases, depending on how much attachment there is, doesn't have to be this way, but I'm just have to mention it too because it could happen. In some cases, when the attachment is so strong, life helps you. But in the beginning, the mind doesn't see it as such. Like, for example, may get to lose your job. Oh my God, I'm losing my job. I don't have income now. What am I going to do? Nothing, because what's happening right now is that you have everything you need for this moment. But the mind is fabricating thoughts about possible future. And remember, we are dealing here with the fact that we're always reacting to thoughts, not to fact. You see? We go into panic, or people go into panic. Somebody who's not conscious, oh my God, what's going to happen? So sometimes life very kindly take that job away from you, and then you find yourself, what am I going to do? And yeah, some people may have to go to bankrupt. So if that choice is in your country, that happens. Some people, that is the best thing that could happen to them. It happened for me twice. That's the way life unfolded for me many years ago, and it was a great release, you see, because then I was able to realize, okay, life is taking care of me, everything was unfolding perfectly, and then I was able to go back again to because when I was dealing with all the debts and all that kind of stuff, I just too much mind stuff, and life very kindly says, I'll help you out. And then I was able to file for bankruptcy. With a clean slate, I was able to breathe, to release myself, and go on with life. Did I mention twice? Yeah, it happens back in the in the early 90s. Yeah, early 90s. And then, of course, when I moved to California in the 2005 or something like that, I found myself racked up again in credit cards, and life said, okay, I guess you didn't get it the first time. So here's the second time. I'm not suggesting that you're going to do that as a cop-out, as an escape. No. Because if that is not the case, then it may not be the best thing for you. This is not about escaping experiences. Okay, that's why I'm very concerned when I mention personal experience, because people believe, oh, that's what I need to do. No, maybe that will not work for you. For me, that's the way it had to happen, so that I can, again, begin with a clean slate. Okay? Because now the most important thing began to be the inner peace. See, before I was still engaged in the things that I thought I wanted to do, and life said, no, that's not the way it's going. Okay? So, in some cases, you may find yourself losing it all. And the mind is the one that goes into panic. Oh my God, what does it mean? What's going to happen to me? Or if you go back again to remember, thy will be done, or the will of life is done. And that's what matters to you, the most important thing. That's the thing. You see, I'm not telling you what to do specifically in a sense of what to do with your circumstances, but I'm pointing to what matters most. When inner peace is the most important thing in your life, then from that space of clarity, you will see how life will move you. You see? And then you may be able to rebuild your life, but with a strong foundation. That's why in the Bible it talks about, a house built on sand and a house now built on rock. So it was built on sand, so we need a stronger foundation. And sometimes we're so caught up with all the stuff that we have built, not that we have built, it's just the way it happened, that needs to be completely destroyed so we can rebuild again. But we're not rebuilt to keep holding off a sense of identity. No. We're rebuilding because now we have a strong foundation in which we can live a more peaceful life, rather than the life that we thought we had to live in order to keep up with the Joneses, how it is said, right? Or trying to keep up an image or something. All of that goes down the drain, and now we're happy. You see, this is where these videos are pointing to happiness, which is what you are right now. Happy, peace. Right? Now, having said all that, let's go back to what these videos are about. These videos are about remembering who you are, not what to do. And what you are is the ever-present direct experience, you see, the original question of the isness of life. So right now, if you don't identify with the content of the mind, what is left? What is left is you. not you as a person, not you as a thought that says, I am this individual, my name is, this is my job. No, no, no. It's you. And that's the invitation. Now the question is if that is what you truly desire. That's why in A Course in Miracles, I believe it's lesson 185 or 189. I'm not really sure. I'll point it down here that says, I want the peace of God. Say these words, it's nothing, but to mean them, it's everything. Because when you mean those words, then all sorts of problems and everything dissipates. Not that the things will change in your world, but the way you see them dissipates. And then the paragraph 5 of that same lesson says, to want the peace of God, those who really want the peace of God do not want the illusions, not want to have any way to hang on to them. What that means is that when I truly want truth, when I want the real peace, I'm not interested in the world of illusions. I'm not interested in pursuing anything that the world can offer. It means nothing to me, because now I'm just resting in truth. It's when you're sleeping, if you're dreaming, as long as you're pursuing something in the dream, you will not be able to be conscious of the fact that you are in bed sleeping. You see, you will never wake up from the dream if there's one thing from the dream that you want. Well, the same thing here. If there's one thing in this world that you want, why would you wake up from it? Because when you have something that you want to hang on to, you see, that to the mind is very disturbing, because the mind lives off of having things from the world. He wants the world. He desires the world, and he's trying to negotiate with this kind of messages. Okay, if I give my life to God, then I can have this thing. Or no. When you give your life to God, well, let me use another term. When you give your life to truth, okay, just in case for some people who the word God may be a little bit, whatever. When you want truth more than anything else, you don't want illusions. You don't want anything the world of illusion can offer. And again, to the mind is disturbing, because the mind feeds off of illusion. It needs illusion because it thinks that if it let go of illusion, it's going to sacrifice something. It's going to lose something. No, you're not going to lose anything. You're going to gain everything, because you're going to gain peace. And in one of the books that I wrote, What Happens When You Let God, rewritten, make sure you get the one rewritten, which is what happens when you let go. See, both words are the same. What happens when you let go, and then you add the D, what happens when you let God. But again, I mentioned that you're better off losing everything and having your inner peace than having everything at the expense of losing your inner peace. You see? So this is the most important thing. What do you truly desire? Do you want the peace, the real peace, or do you want your illusions? You see? And if you want peace, then there you go. Your second question is answered. All you have to do is want that more than anything else. And you will notice that maybe that's not really what we want. And that's okay. I'm not saying that you have to, this is not a sacrificing thing. You don't have to let go of the family or the job or the money or the things that you enjoy doing. No. You don't have to let go of anything. You just have to choose peace above all else, and that which no longer serves you is going to be let go. Because again, you want to know who you are. You see? And life, what it will do is that it'll help you see things differently. That's the key. If you're trying to let go of a willpower thing, I'm going to let go of the stuff, I'm going to sacrifice something, you're still hanging on to the illusion, you're still giving them the same power. You see? What I'm saying is that when you open your heart to truth, and I said, universe, all I want is the peace, the real peace. When you really open your heart to that, you will notice that a lot of the things that you used to have an attachment to, you'll begin to see them differently, because they no longer have the same importance that you had when there was a strong identification with the sense of personal identity. So this is very simple. The long video just to go back to what do you really desire more than anything else. You see? And you rest in there. That's the most important thing. So begin with that, and then see how life unfolds for you. And then let's see what else it says. I feel that there is always a mild tension undercurrent that is underneath everything I do. I guess what I am after is being relieved from these feelings. Yeah, of course, everybody wants to be relieved from feelings of suffering, but they don't understand what the cause of that is. You see, that's the problem. The cause of suffering is identification with the personal self. That's it. It's not what you have or don't have or no. When you believe you're this separate individual, suffering is there. because a separate individual pursues things, is afraid of losing things, its value comes from what it thinks it has, and every thought that you can possibly imagine is adhered to that sense of identity. So when you begin to realize that peace is the most important thing and you rest in that, then don't worry about it. Life is unfolding, life is take care of life, you are life. And again, that video, I have another video, I believe it's called Life Take Care of Life, I'm not really sure. But anyway, all the videos are saying the same thing, even though we use different kind of words. So check them out and see which one resonates with you, and that's what matters. So anyhow, so this is what I felt inspired to share regarding this question. The person asked me if I do one-on-one sessions. Well, again, I offer this answers to help you here, but if you still want a one-on-one session, then you can go to my website, nicarandes.com, choose the author's website, of course, and then I have a link for that particular service, if you want to call it that way. But I hope this this video served you and clarified your concerns here. Having said that, may peace permeate the mind so that love can be extended.